In the quiet recesses of your mind, where the chaos of the world fades, lies the potential for transformation. It is here that the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers us a profound truth. The greatest battle we fight is not with others, but within ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, the revered Roman emperor and philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Today we embark on a journey to reclaim that strength, to focus on ourselves, and to rise above the distractions of the external world. 1. Self-reflection. The first step is to turn inward. Ask yourself, who am I? And what truly matters to me? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look. In this reflection, we shed the expectations of others, focusing instead on cultivating our inner virtues. Self-reflection is not a passive act, but a courageous confrontation with our flaws and aspirations. Imagine a man who, each night before bed, spends 10 minutes reflecting on his day. He does not judge himself harshly, nor does he dwell on regrets. Instead, he considers where he succeeded in acting virtuously and where he fell short. Perhaps he lost his temper during a disagreement at work. Recognizing this, he resolves to approach future conflicts with more patience. This nightly ritual of reflection allows him to grow incrementally stronger and more aware of his behavior. Self-reflection also involves understanding the difference between what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us, and some things are not. By focusing on what we can change, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we free ourselves from the frustration of trying to control the uncontrollable. Consider someone striving to advance in their career. Instead of fixating on the opinions of their colleagues or the unpredictability of promotions, they dedicate themselves to improving their skills, building meaningful relationships, and acting with integrity. By focusing inward, they find fulfillment regardless of external outcomes. Practical exercises in self-reflection can deepen this practice. One such exercise is journaling. At the end of each day, write about moments that challenged your composure or tested your virtues. For instance, if you found yourself envious of a friend's success, acknowledge this feeling and explore its root. Is it stemming from a lack of gratitude for your own accomplishments? Is it a reminder to reassess your goals? Writing down these thoughts not only clears your mind, but also provides clarity for moving forward. Another method is to pose reflective questions throughout your day. When faced with a decision, ask yourself, is this in alignment with my values? Or am I acting out of fear, desire, or principle? For example, if you're tempted to spread gossip about a colleague, pause and consider, what does this say about my character? How does this action contribute to my growth or detract from it? Such questions guide you toward virtuous choices and away from impulsive reactions. Self-reflection also demands honesty. It is easy to make excuses or blame external circumstances for our failings, but growth requires us to take responsibility. Marcus Aurelius urges us to be our own harshest critics, not to condemn ourselves, but to refine ourselves. He writes, "You must become an old man in good time if you wish to be an old man long." This means adopting the wisdom and perspective of experience now, rather than waiting for age to teach us its lessons. To illustrate this, consider a student struggling with procrastination. They might blame distractions or a heavy workload, but through honest reflection, they recognize that their lack of discipline is the root cause. By acknowledging this truth, they can take steps to create a structured study schedule, eliminate distractions, and hold themselves accountable. Over time, this self-awareness leads to increased productivity and a stronger sense of accomplishment. In our modern age, where distractions are plentiful and comparisons unavoidable, self-reflection is a radical act of self-care. Social media often tempts us to measure our worth against the curated lives of others. Yet, as the Stoics remind us, true contentment lies not in external validation, but in the quiet confidence of a life well lived. By regularly reflecting on our actions and motives, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and align our lives with our highest ideals. Ultimately, self-reflection is the foundation upon which all other Stoic practices rest. It allows us to identify our strengths and weaknesses, set meaningful goals, and act with intention. When we take the time to look inward, we discover that the source of our strength and fulfillment has been within us all along. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time on what others do and say. Instead, seek to become your best self." 2. Awareness and meditation. Awareness is the foundation of clarity and purpose. Without it, we drift aimlessly, swayed by emotions and external pressures. Marcus Aurelius counseled, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Awareness allows us to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. It is the practice of observing our thoughts and actions without judgment, and from this observation, we gain the power to act with intention. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating awareness. Unlike the mystical practices often associated with the term, Stoic meditation is grounded in practical introspection. Each morning, pause and prepare your mind for the day. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He would remind himself of the challenges he might face, from unkindness to adversity, and resolve to meet them with patience and virtue. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own.'" This mental preparation fosters resilience and equips us to respond to life's inevitable difficulties with composure. Consider the example of a professional athlete preparing for a major competition. Before stepping onto the field, they visualize potential setbacks, an opponent's unexpected move, a referee's controversial call, or even their own mistakes. By rehearsing these scenarios mentally, they reduce their emotional reactivity and enhance their focus. Similarly, in our daily lives, we can use morning meditation to anticipate challenges and set a calm, purposeful tone for the day. Awareness also involves being present in the moment. Seneca warned against the danger of living in the past or future, saying, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have." Imagine a parent distracted by work emails during their child's school play. Their body is present, but their mind is elsewhere. By practicing mindfulness, they can fully engage with the moment, cherishing the fleeting beauty of their child's performance. A practical exercise for building awareness is to periodically check in with yourself throughout the day. Ask, "What am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Are my thoughts aligned with my goals?" For example, if you find yourself frustrated during a meeting, pause to identify the source of your irritation. Is it because you feel unheard, or is it because you're attached to a specific outcome? By naming your emotions and examining their root, you regain control and prevent impulsive reactions. Another exercise is the evening review, a practice championed by Stoics like Seneca. At the end of the day, Reflect on your actions and thoughts. Did you remain composed in the face of adversity? Did you act in accordance with your values? Consider a person who feels guilt over a harsh comment made to a friend. In their evening review, they might recognize their lapse in judgment and resolve to apologize the next day. This habit of self-assessment not only fosters accountability, but also accelerates personal growth. Modern distractions from social media to the 24-hour news cycle make awareness more challenging than ever. These constant stimuli pull us away from ourselves, tempting us to react rather than reflect. To combat this, create boundaries around your time and attention. For instance, designate specific periods for checking emails or scrolling social media, and spend the rest of your time fully engaged in your tasks or relationships. By limiting distractions, you create space for intentionality and awareness. Awareness and meditation are not one-time practices, but lifelong disciplines. They require patience and persistence. However, the rewards are immense: a calmer mind, greater self-control, and the ability to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and grace. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By cultivating awareness, we choose the colors of our soul, painting a life of purpose and virtue. 3. Setting achievable goals. Setting goals is an act of intention, a declaration of purpose that directs our energy and focus. Yet, the Stoics caution us to align our goals with what is within our control, avoiding the pitfalls of striving for external validation. As Epictetus stated, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This guidance reminds us that our ambitions must stem from our inner values and virtues, not the shifting opinions or expectations of others. A Stoic goal is rooted in self-improvement and aligned with the greater good. For example, instead of setting a goal to receive a promotion at work, which depends on external factors, one might focus on becoming more skilled, reliable, and patient in their role. This shift reframes the journey, emphasizing growth over outcome and effort over reward. If the promotion comes, it is a bonus. If it doesn't, the individual still finds fulfillment in their progress. To set achievable goals, begin by identifying what truly matters to you. Reflect on your values. Is it courage, integrity, compassion? Once you've clarified your priorities, craft goals that are specific, measurable, and actionable. For instance, instead of vaguely aiming to be healthier, commit to exercising 3 times a week and preparing home-cooked meals. This precision transforms abstract desires into concrete steps. Consider the example of a student struggling to balance academics and personal well-being. They might set a goal to study for 2 focused hours each evening, followed by 30 minutes of physical activity. This structure respects their broader aim of maintaining balance while breaking it into manageable pieces. By focusing on consistent effort rather than perfection, they reduce stress and build confidence in their ability to meet challenges. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of flexibility in goal setting. Life is unpredictable, and rigid adherence to a plan can lead to frustration. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live." If circumstances change, reassess your goals and adjust your approach. For example, an athlete recovering from an injury might shift their focus from competition to rehabilitation. Finding satisfaction in small milestones like regaining mobility or strength. A powerful tool for goal setting is the practice of visualization. Before embarking on a task, imagine the process in detail. Marcus Aurelius often engaged in this mental preparation, considering both the potential difficulties and the rewards of his actions. Suppose you aim to deliver a successful presentation at work. Visualize yourself calmly preparing your materials, addressing questions confidently, and engaging your audience. By mentally rehearsing the scenario, you reduce the anxiety and reinforce your readiness. Another practical approach is to pair your goals with accountability. Share your intentions with a trusted friend or mentor who can provide encouragement and feedback. For example, if you aim to write a book, set a goal to complete one chapter per month and share your progress with your mentor. This external accountability can motivate you to stay committed while offering valuable insights along the way. Stoicism also teaches us to embrace the process rather than fixating on the outcome. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By focusing on the journey, we cultivate patience and gratitude. For instance, an entrepreneur launching a business might measure success not by immediate profits, but by the lessons learned and connections made along the way. This mindset fosters resilience and prevents discouragement in the face of setbacks. Lastly, celebrate your progress. Recognize the small victories that contribute to your larger goals. Each step forward, no matter how minor, is a testament to your dedication and growth. Imagine a musician learning a challenging piece. Every successful attempt at mastering a difficult passage brings them closer to their goal, reinforcing their commitment and joy in the process. Setting achievable goals is not merely about reaching a destination. It is about becoming the person capable of achieving them. By aligning our ambitions with our values, remaining flexible, and focusing on effort over outcome, we embody the Stoic ideal of living with purpose and intention. As Marcus Aurelius advised, do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. With this mindset, each goal becomes an opportunity to cultivate virtue and meaning. 4. Attaining inner peace. True inner peace is not found in the absence of challenges, but in our ability to navigate them with grace and composure. The Stoics believed that tranquility arises when we align our thoughts and actions with our values, rather than allowing external events to dictate our emotions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." To attain this inner peace, we must cultivate self-awareness, embrace acceptance, and practice discipline. One essential step toward inner peace is recognizing what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." For instance, consider someone who has just received criticism at work. Instead of reacting defensively or letting the comment ruin their day, they pause and evaluate. Is this feedback constructive? If so, they can use it to improve. If not, they can let it go, understanding that they cannot control others' opinions. This mindset protects their inner peace by reducing unnecessary conflict and self-doubt. Another practice for cultivating tranquility is learning to accept life as it is. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of embracing reality, no matter how challenging it may seem. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Imagine a traveler whose flight is delayed due to bad weather. Instead of succumbing to frustration, they use the unexpected time to read, meditate, or plan their next steps. By adapting to the situation rather than resisting it, they preserve their sense of calm. Meditation is a practical tool for achieving inner peace. Stoic meditation differs from other forms by focusing on preparation and reflection. Begin your day with a few minutes of silence, contemplating the challenges you might face and visualizing how you will respond virtuously. For example, if you anticipate a difficult conversation with a colleague, imagine approaching it with empathy and patience. At the end of the day, reflect on your actions. Did you remain calm under pressure? Did you act in accordance with your principles? This regular practice reinforces self-discipline and resilience. Gratitude is another cornerstone of inner peace. Seneca advised, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. Consider a person overwhelmed by financial worries. Instead of fixating on their debts, they might practice gratitude for the support of family, the skills they possess, or the opportunities available to them. This shift in focus not only reduces anxiety, but also fosters a sense of contentment. A practical example of inner peace in action is the story of a teacher managing a noisy classroom. Instead of reacting with anger, the teacher pauses, takes a deep breath, and calmly addresses the students. They acknowledge the noise without losing their composure, demonstrating both self-control and understanding. This approach not only diffuses the situation, but also sets an example for the students, showing that calmness is more effective than chaos. To maintain inner peace, it is also crucial to limit external distractions. In today's fast-paced world, the constant influx of information can overwhelm our minds. Establishing boundaries around technology, work, and social obligations allows us to focus on what truly matters. For instance, dedicating specific times to check emails or social media can prevent these activities from encroaching on personal time. This discipline creates mental space for reflection and relaxation. Finally, inner peace is not a destination, but a practice. It requires consistent effort and a willingness to adapt. Life will always present challenges, but the Stoic approach teaches us to view these moments as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By focusing on what we can control and letting go of the rest, we free ourselves from unnecessary turmoil and find enduring tranquility. Attaining inner peace is about creating harmony within ourselves, even in the midst of external chaos. Through acceptance, gratitude, and disciplined practice, we build a refuge in our souls that no storm can penetrate. This peace is not only a gift to ourselves, but also to those around us, as a calm and centered individual inspires others to find their own serenity. Fifth, courage to face challenges. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to act in spite of it. The Stoics believe that life's challenges are opportunities to grow stronger and more virtuous. As Musonius Rufus said, "Hardship and difficulty are opportunities for virtue." To cultivate courage is to embrace adversity, not avoid it, and to confront life's obstacles with resilience and fortitude. One key aspect of Stoic courage is the willingness to face discomfort. In today's world, where convenience often reigns, this principle may seem counterintuitive. However, enduring discomfort builds character and prepares us for greater challenges. Consider an individual training for a marathon. They wake up early, run in the rain, and push through physical exhaustion. Each step, though difficult, strengthens their body and mind. This commitment to perseverance mirrors the Stoic ideal of courage, to face hardship as a means of growth. Courage also involves taking responsibility for one's actions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When we own our choices and their consequences, we empower ourselves to act with integrity. Imagine a manager faced with delivering difficult news to their team. Instead of deflecting blame or avoiding the conversation, they approach it with honesty and compassion, demonstrating strength through accountability. Practical exercises can help cultivate courage in daily life. One such exercise is voluntary discomfort. Seneca recommended practicing poverty for short periods to prepare for life's uncertainties. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" In modern terms, this might mean spending a weekend without luxury items or conveniences, reminding ourselves that we can endure far more than we think. Facing fear directly is another way to build courage. Fear often grows in the shadows of avoidance, but when brought into the light, it diminishes. For example, someone afraid of public speaking might start by addressing small groups before gradually working up to larger audiences. Each attempt, though nerve-wracking, reinforces their confidence and diminishes their fear. Epictetus advised, "He who has a stout heart in his breast will not shrink from difficulty." Courage also requires us to stand by our principles, even when it is unpopular or difficult. A student might face peer pressure to cheat on an exam, but chooses to uphold their integrity despite the risk of lower grades. This decision, though challenging, aligns with their values and strengthens their moral character. The Stoics remind us that true courage is not measured by applause or recognition, but by our ability to remain steadfast in the face of ethical dilemmas. Another example of Stoic courage is found in the story of Admiral James Stockdale, a prisoner of war who survived years of captivity through Stoic principles. Stockdale credited his resilience to Epictetus's teachings, which emphasized focusing on what he could control: his thoughts, actions, and responses to suffering. Despite immense hardship, he maintained hope and dignity, embodying the Stoic belief that courage lies in mastering oneself. To foster courage, it is essential to reframe challenges as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When faced with setbacks, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? For instance, an entrepreneur who experiences a business failure might view it not as a defeat, but as a chance to refine their approach and build resilience. This perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Finally, remember that courage is a practice, not a destination. It is developed incrementally through small acts of bravery, which accumulate into a greater capacity for strength. By consistently choosing to face difficulties head-on, we train ourselves to approach life with confidence and composure. Courage is the cornerstone of a meaningful life. It enables us to confront fear, embrace hardship, and act in alignment with our values. As we practice courage daily, we not only strengthen our own character, but also inspire those around us to do the same. The Stoic path is not easy, but it is profoundly rewarding, teaching us to meet life's trials with unwavering resolve and grace. 6. Becoming stronger. Strength, in the Stoic sense, is not measured by physical might, but by the resilience and fortitude to endure life's challenges with dignity and purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True strength is the ability to remain composed and principled in the face of adversity, to grow through hardships, and to transform obstacles into opportunities for personal growth. The first step toward becoming stronger is recognizing that challenges are inevitable. Life will present us with difficulties, from personal loss to professional setbacks. Instead of resisting these challenges, the Stoics encourage us to view them as opportunities to build resilience. Epictetus stated, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." For instance, consider someone recovering from a serious injury. They could succumb to despair or use the experience to develop patience, perseverance, and a deeper appreciation for their body's healing process. By choosing the latter, they emerge stronger in both mind and spirit. Another key aspect of building strength is cultivating self-discipline. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Discipline is the practice of doing what is necessary, even when it is difficult or uncomfortable. Imagine a writer working on their first novel. They might face distractions, self-doubt, and the temptation to procrastinate. By setting a daily writing schedule and adhering to it, they develop the discipline needed to complete their project. Each small victory reinforces their strength and commitment. Strength also involves controlling our reactions to external events. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This perspective shifts our focus from blaming external circumstances to taking responsibility for our internal state. For example, a person facing criticism at work can either let it undermine their confidence or use it as constructive feedback to improve. By choosing the latter, they demonstrate resilience and a growth mindset. To develop strength, the Stoics recommend practicing voluntary discomfort. This exercise involves deliberately exposing ourselves to mild hardships to build resilience and appreciation for what we have. Seneca suggested periodically living as if in poverty, wearing simple clothes, and eating plain food, to remind ourselves that we can endure more than we think. In a modern context, this could involve spending a day without technology, walking instead of driving, or fasting for a meal. These practices strengthen our ability to face genuine hardships with grace. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable suffering in concentration camps. In his memoir, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl described how he found strength by focusing on his purpose and maintaining hope. Even in the darkest of circumstances, he chose to see meaning in his suffering and act with dignity. His story exemplifies the Stoic belief that our response to adversity defines our strength. Becoming stronger also requires us to surround ourselves with supportive influences. Epictetus advised, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Seek relationships that encourage growth and resilience." For example, a student struggling with a challenging course might benefit from forming a study group with peers who inspire and motivate them. This sense of community fosters mutual strength and perseverance. Finally, reflect on your progress regularly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Celebrate small victories and acknowledge how far you've come." For instance, a person training for a marathon might reflect on how their endurance has improved over weeks of consistent effort. This reflection reinforces their resolve and builds confidence in their ability to overcome future challenges. Becoming stronger is not a destination but a continuous journey. It is about facing life's challenges with courage, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to growth. As you cultivate strength, you not only transform yourself, but also inspire others to find their own resilience. By embodying the Stoic ideal of inner fortitude, you create a life of purpose and unshakable strength. 7. Practicing daily gratitude. Gratitude is the anchor that grounds us amidst the storms of life. For the Stoics, it was not a fleeting feeling, but a daily practice, a deliberate acknowledgement of the gifts and opportunities life presents. Seneca wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he is not, but rejoices for those which he has." Practicing gratitude fosters a perspective of abundance and fortifies our resilience against envy and dissatisfaction. To integrate gratitude into our lives, we must begin by shifting our focus from what is lacking to what is already present. Take a moment each day to reflect on 3 things you are thankful for. These can be as grand as a supportive family or as simple as a warm cup of coffee on a cold morning. By consistently practicing this exercise, we train our minds to recognize the goodness in our lives, even during challenging times. Consider the story of a struggling small business owner. Faced with dwindling sales and mounting pressure, they might feel overwhelmed by their circumstances. However, by practicing gratitude, they shift their focus. They express thanks for loyal customers, a dedicated team, and the lessons learned from adversity. This mindset not only provides emotional relief, but also fuels the optimism and creativity needed to navigate their challenges. Gratitude also invites us to appreciate the beauty in the mundane. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to observe the world with wonder. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Imagine a commuter stuck in traffic. Instead of succumbing to frustration, they use the time to notice the sunset, listen to their favorite music, or reflect on the day. By finding joy in the ordinary, they transform an inconvenience into an opportunity for appreciation. Another practical way to cultivate gratitude is through journaling. Dedicate a few minutes each evening to write about moments that brought you joy or taught you valuable lessons. For example, a student might reflect on how a challenging exam pushed them to study harder and learn more effectively. This practice not only reinforces positive experiences, but also helps us reframe difficulties as opportunities for growth. Gratitude is particularly powerful when shared. Expressing appreciation to others strengthens relationships and fosters a sense of community. Seneca observed, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." For instance, sending a heartfelt thank you note to a mentor or colleague can deepen connections and remind both parties of the value they bring to each other's lives. Even small acts, like thanking a barista for their kindness or a friend for their support, ripple outward, spreading positivity. In moments of hardship, gratitude becomes a beacon of hope. Epictetus advised, "Do not try to set things to your own liking, but wish them to be as they are, and you will find them easier." When faced with loss or disappointment, gratitude allows us to focus on what remains. Consider a person who has lost a job. Instead of dwelling solely on their misfortune, they might express gratitude for the skills they've developed, the experiences they've gained, and the opportunities yet to come. This mindset empowers them to move forward with courage and purpose. Gratitude is not about denying life's difficulties, but about recognizing the good that coexists with them. It teaches us to savor the present moment, to find contentment in what we have, and to approach the future with hope. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words remind us that each day is a gift, an opportunity to live with intention and joy. Incorporating gratitude into our daily lives transforms the way we experience the world. It shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from dissatisfaction to contentment. As we practice gratitude, we strengthen our resilience, deepen our relationships, and cultivate a sense of peace and fulfillment. Gratitude is not merely an act, it is a way of being, a cornerstone of the Stoic life that guides us toward greater wisdom and happiness. 8. Prioritizing virtue and values. At the heart of Stoicism lies a profound commitment to virtue and values. For the Stoics, living a good life was synonymous with living a virtuous one. Marcus Aurelius stated, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple yet profound principle reminds us that our actions and words should be guided by integrity, justice, and wisdom. By prioritizing virtue and values, we create a foundation for a life of meaning and purpose. Virtue, according to the Stoics, is the highest good. Unlike external achievements, wealth, fame, or power, virtue is entirely within our control. It encompasses qualities such as courage, temperance, wisdom, and justice. Imagine a business leader faced with a dilemma. A lucrative opportunity arises that involves exploiting workers. Instead of succumbing to greed, they choose to prioritize fairness and ethical practices. While this decision may sacrifice short-term profits, it reinforces their integrity and earns the trust of employees and customers. This is the essence of living virtuously. To prioritize virtue, it is essential to examine our values. Ask yourself, what principles guide my decisions? Are they aligned with the kind of person I want to be? For example, someone who values honesty might reflect on whether they are truthful in all their interactions. If they catch themselves exaggerating or withholding information, they can take steps to correct this behavior. By regularly aligning actions with values, we build a consistent and trustworthy character. Practical exercises can help us cultivate virtue. One approach is to use daily affirmations to reinforce our commitment to our values. Each morning, reflect on a specific virtue you wish to embody. For instance, if you aim to practice patience, remind yourself, "Today I will respond to challenges with calm and understanding." This simple ritual sets a tone of intentionality for the day. Another method is to review your actions at the end of each day. Marcus Aurelius himself practiced this. He would reflect on his conduct and identify areas for improvement. Imagine a teacher who, during their evening review, recalls being impatient with a struggling student. Acknowledging this lapse, they resolve to approach similar situations with more empathy in the future. This consistent self-assessment strengthens their commitment to their values over time. Living virtuously also requires the courage to resist societal pressures. In a world that often rewards superficial success, staying true to one's principles can be challenging. Consider an artist who is pressured to create commercial work that compromises their vision. By prioritizing their artistic integrity, they may face financial difficulties, but they remain true to their values and find fulfillment in authenticity. The Stoics remind us that virtue is its own reward. It is also important to recognize that virtue extends beyond personal conduct. Justice, one of the four cardinal Stoic virtues, calls us to act for the greater good. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." This principle can guide us in everyday interactions, from showing compassion to a stranger to advocating for fairness in our communities. For instance, a volunteer who dedicates time to mentoring underprivileged youth embodies the Stoic ideal of justice, contributing to a more equitable society. Prioritizing virtue does not mean striving for perfection. The Stoics understood that humans are fallible. What matters is the effort to align our actions with our values, even when we falter. Epictetus advised, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This humility and willingness to learn allow us to grow steadily in virtue. In practice, prioritizing virtue often involves making difficult choices. A young professional might face the temptation to cut corners on a project to save time. By choosing to uphold quality and integrity, even at personal cost, they strengthen their character and earn lasting respect. Such decisions, while challenging in the moment, ultimately lead to a life of fulfillment and self-respect. Living a virtuous life is not about grand gestures, but about the accumulation of small, consistent actions that reflect our values. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." By prioritizing virtue and values, we create a life of purpose and leave a legacy of wisdom and integrity for others to follow. 9. Accepting the present moment. Acceptance of the present moment is one of the most profound lessons Stoicism teaches us. It is the art of embracing what is, rather than yearning for what could have been or fearing what might be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have to assemble your life yourself, action by action, and be satisfied if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. No one can keep that from happening." By learning to accept the present, we free ourselves from regret, anxiety, and the relentless pursuit of control over the uncontrollable. One essential aspect of accepting the present moment is understanding that life unfolds as it should. The Stoics called this concept amor fati, or the love of fate. This means not only enduring what happens, but embracing it as necessary and even good. For example, imagine an athlete who has trained tirelessly for a competition, but suffers an injury days before the event. Instead of succumbing to despair, they accept their circumstances and focus on rehabilitation. This mindset allows them to channel their energy into recovery rather than dwelling on their misfortune. To practice acceptance, start by observing your thoughts. Epictetus advised, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When faced with an unexpected challenge, pause and reflect. Are you resisting reality, or are you adapting to it? Consider someone who misses a crucial job interview due to a transportation delay. They can either stew in frustration or accept the situation, using the time to prepare for future opportunities. By choosing the latter, they maintain composure and create room for growth. Mindfulness is a practical tool for cultivating present moment awareness. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe our surroundings and experiences without judgment. A simple exercise is to spend 5 minutes focusing on your breath, noticing the sensations of inhaling and exhaling. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. This practice trains your mind to stay rooted in the present, reducing the tendency to ruminate on the past or worry about the future. Another approach is to find joy in small, everyday moments. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." Imagine someone enjoying a walk through a park. Instead of rushing to their destination, they take time to notice the rustling leaves, the chirping birds, and the warmth of the sun. By immersing themselves in these simple pleasures, they cultivate a sense of peace and gratitude. Accepting the present moment also involves letting go of the need for control. The Stoics recognized that much of life is beyond our influence. The actions of others, the outcomes of events, even the weather. Instead of fighting these realities, they focused on what they could control: their thoughts, actions, and attitudes. For instance, a parent cannot control their child's choices, but they can guide them with love, patience, and wisdom. This shift in focus fosters serenity and reduces unnecessary stress. A powerful example of embracing the present can be seen in the life of Nelson Mandela. During his 27 years of imprisonment, He accepted his circumstances and used his time to educate himself and reflect on his values. Instead of harboring resentment, he focused on the future he wanted to create. His ability to accept and act within his reality not only preserved his dignity, but also inspired millions. Acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. It is an active engagement with life as it is, coupled with the wisdom to respond constructively. When a storm disrupts your plans, acceptance allows you to seek shelter and appreciate the rain rather than cursing the weather. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. Finally, remember that accepting the present moment is a practice. There will be times when you resist, falter, or struggle to let go. In these moments, return to the teachings of the Stoics. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens. Then you will be happy, said Epictetus. By embracing this principle, you align yourself with the flow of life and discover the tranquility that comes with acceptance. Accepting the present moment is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It teaches us to find peace in what is, to focus on what we can control, and to live fully in the here and now. Through this practice, we not only liberate ourselves from unnecessary suffering, but also open our hearts to the beauty and possibility of each moment. 10th, controlling desires and aversions. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is mastering our desires and aversions. These impulses, if left unchecked, can lead to suffering and distraction, pulling us away from a life of virtue and purpose. Epictetus succinctly stated, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." True freedom comes from controlling our internal world rather than being enslaved by external desires or fears. Desires often stem from an attachment to material possessions or status, but the Stoics remind us that these things are fleeting and ultimately beyond our control. Consider a person striving for wealth at the expense of their well-being. They may achieve their financial goals, yet find themselves trapped by constant anxiety over losing their fortune. Instead of deriving joy from their riches, they become its prisoner. The Stoics teach us to detach from such desires by focusing on what is truly valuable, our character and virtues. A practical example of controlling desires can be seen in practicing temperance. Imagine someone tempted by overindulgence in food or drink. By practicing moderation, they not only maintain their physical health, but also strengthen their self-discipline. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Temperance allows us to find satisfaction in simplicity and reduces the craving for excess. Aversions, on the other hand, are our fears and the things we seek to avoid. These often revolve around discomfort, pain, or uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." For instance, consider someone who fears public speaking. This aversion may stem from a fear of judgment, yet by reframing the experience as an opportunity to grow and share ideas, they can overcome their anxiety. Facing our aversions head-on, rather than avoiding them, strengthens our courage and fortitude. Another strategy for mastering desires and aversions is practicing the Stoic exercise of negative visualization. This involves imagining the loss of things we hold dear, not to dwell in sorrow, but to appreciate their value and reduce our attachment. For example, a parent might reflect on the transient nature of their child's childhood, encouraging them to cherish the present moments instead of taking them for granted. This practice not only fosters gratitude, but also prepares us to face inevitable changes with equanimity. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our control. Epictetus taught, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." By directing our energy toward our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we reclaim our power and free ourselves from the tyranny of external forces. For example, an athlete may aspire to win a competition, but they cannot control the outcome. What they can control is their preparation, effort, and sportsmanship. By focusing on these, they find fulfillment, regardless of the result. Another powerful example of mastering desires and aversions can be found in the life of Admiral James Stockdale, a prisoner of war who endured years of captivity through Stoic principles. By focusing on his internal state, his courage, resolve, and sense of purpose, he overcame the physical and emotional hardships of his imprisonment. Stockdale's story illustrates the Stoic belief that true strength lies within. To practice controlling desires and aversions, begin by examining your motivations. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this because it aligns with my values or because I seek approval or comfort? For instance, someone considering a career change might weigh whether their decision is driven by passion or by the allure of prestige. By staying true to their values, they can make choices that lead to lasting fulfillment. Finally, remind yourself of the Stoic principle of sufficiency. That true happiness comes from wanting less, not having more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life. If you can manage this, that's all even the gods can ask of you." Simplify your desires, and you will simplify your life. Mastering desires and aversions is not about suppressing our emotions, but about understanding them and responding with wisdom. By cultivating self-awareness, practicing moderation, and focusing on what we can control, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and find true contentment. This mastery is not an endpoint, but a continuous journey toward the freedom and tranquility that lie at the heart of Stoicism. Stoicism is not merely a philosophy to be studied, but a way of life to be practiced. Its principles, rooted in self-control, fortitude, and virtue, guide us to live with purpose and resilience. By focusing on what we can control, mastering our desires and aversions, and embracing the present moment, we transform challenges into opportunities and find meaning in every experience. Imagine a life where setbacks no longer paralyze you, where the opinions of others no longer dictate your self-worth, and where fleeting desires no longer cloud your judgment. This is the life Stoicism invites us to lead, a life grounded in wisdom, courage, and gratitude. To apply Stoicism in daily life, begin with small, deliberate actions. Start your morning by reflecting on your values and preparing for the day's challenges. Pause during moments of stress to remind yourself of what is within your control. End your day by reviewing your actions and committing to continuous improvement. These practices, though simple, cultivate the strength and clarity needed to navigate life's complexities. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The journey of Stoicism is not about achieving perfection, but about striving to live with integrity and intention. By embracing this philosophy, we not only elevate ourselves, but also inspire others to do the same. The path may be difficult, but it is profoundly rewarding, a journey toward a life of peace, virtue, and unshakable strength.